It's a oh wow. It's a beautiful day to blaze some good. It's a beautiful day to blaze some good. Would you be kind? Please like mine. Hello. All right, so time for a new wake and bake or bake, because yeah, I'm pretty much there. Ate a couple of gummies and I've been smoking all evening. I'm fried. That's crazy because I was supposed to start doing this stuff early. Again, had this new job, which is crazy shit. You get a job, but they tell you like, you think you're gonna go in and get paid, and it's fucking stupid. Because the first week, you know what I'm saying? This is the first week, so we go there for 3 hours, and then we gotta do the work after work, and that could be like another 4 hours. And then, because it's contract work, it's not, per hour. You know what I'm saying? The whole training time you ain't getting paid, and you get paid after, so you take like 30 calls. Ridiculous. It was bugging out. They charge you, or didn't charge you, but they pay you 30 cents a minute. Yo, yeah, nah, I ain't doing that. Love to be able to get a little bit more of this shit going, but you know. So lists. I got a few lists that I'm going to be discussing in these podcasts. So obviously, one of the first ones that I still haven't followed up on is my list of smoke songs, but I'm gonna get that going. So, but right now, what I'm gonna do is we'll go over what I was talking about yesterday, as far as like all these dystopic movies that you know things are actually happening for real. Even they put what's going on now in movies. So this is gonna be sort of a continuation of things. So like, I'll go over a few of them today, and then Sunday, which is my birthday, what I'm gonna do is start doing this every week. Like on a Sunday, I'll play like a dystopic movie, and I'll do it in Discord. And then Mondays I'm gonna do messed up movies. So like, there's one movie that can actually be in both categories. So the first one, I may use it, do it. Clockwork Orange is gonna be one of the first ones. Now that one I think is more messed up. I mean, it is definitely a dystopic, and it fits that sort of, at least the dystopic mold. But as far as like to correlate with my premise, I think it's probably better to leave that for messed up movie Mondays. But so we go over. So Blade Runner, I think that's probably going to be one of the ones that we're going to watch, because I never actually watched it. So I get the idea behind it, but I never really actually get to watch that one. Let's see the next one, The Road Warrior. Now this is another one. It does give that dystopic feeling, but it's definitely one that we're gonna. I want to revisit that one, because this came out in 1981 when I was 4. Now I do remember that there was sort of the campaign. 'Cause that even then goes back to what I was talking about yesterday, with how in the MTV era, back then before the internet, there was always like this sort of a media campaign whenever a certain thing came out, like a music or movies. And Road Warrior was one. It was like big with the music, and then you had the music that pushed the movie, and then vice versa. Vice versa. That was a big time. I was only 4, but I remember, and it wasn't necessarily for Road Warrior. It's probably one after that, because I was 4. Okay, let's see. They Live. Okay, They Live is definitely one that is one of the main ones, because as far as where my premise goes, how about how these movies correlate to what's going on now, this is perfect, because the first thing is, if you notice in this movie, so the premise behind the movie is basically Roddy Piper. He finds these glasses, and when he puts his glasses on, he starts noticing that he sees these things. He sees people that aren't people. To the naked eye, they look like people, but when you look behind that, they look like these aliens. And he looks at certain signs, and certain signs, when he takes the glasses off, they'll say one thing. They'll be like a advertisement for something, but under that, when he puts the glasses on, it says obey. So it's basically sort of a dystopic period, similar to now, and how it correlates is with the subliminal messages. Now, and not only just subliminal messages, just a sort of like multi-tiered society, and how these people that weren't actually people, they were aliens. They basically were the elites. They were the rich. They were, they seemed to get the most. They had, all the luxuries, and how they were able to secure that, where they had a few humans that knew where they were, and basically worked for them, continuing this machine that would keep everybody blinded to what was going on. Total metaphor for what's going on right now and what has been going on. Because if you don't remember, a few years ago, it was very popular for people to wear a shirt with the words "obey" on it. And I kind of always knew. I yeah, computer's acting stupid and shit, but I always knew there was some kind of subliminal meaning behind the words "obey," and nothing could show that more than after this period that we had with the jibber jab. But this movie, I did do a lot of sampling and made a few different songs. I mean, can't ever really play because I can't clear the song, so there's no way for me to play it. But maybe on Patreon, or the songs themselves, I would take out the parts. At least one of them I'll have to take out. I can take out the sample and just play the song itself because the song is ill. But there's one song where the actual parts of the movie that I sampled are in the song. One day I'll just release it on Patreon. I'll do like an AI video to it and shit. It's pretty ill. I'm actually almost listening to it right now. It's the next song. Got a song playing in the background that nobody can hear but me. Okay, so They Live. That's going to be number one movie. Let me see if I can pull it up on the Netflix. Dragon Ball Daima. All right. Oh, not on Netflix. Let's see, Amazon. Of course, I got to rent it. Anyway, that's probably going to be number one movie. All right, so there's Escape from New York, guys. Didn't see that one, but that's going to be on the list too to watch. All right, so now we have RoboCop. Okay, so this is another one. And this one is basically, for me at least, as far as my premise goes, this goes sort of super over policing. It was crazy. It was similar in another movie that's gonna have to view, is sort of part of my premise, is Judge Dredd. I think even the first version probably fits the premise more than the second one does too. But anyway, RoboCop. That one we're gonna definitely examine. That one, I mean, it's crazy because the cop is basically mostly, it's actually 90% robot and like 10% human. So the premise behind that is there's this cop, he gets injured, and they have this program to where they're gonna mix cyborg, it's what it is, a cyborg. So they basically take some human parts and implant it into this robot to make the perfect robot, and a perfect cop. And he just murders the shit out of people. There's more to it though, but it definitely does fit. Now the next movie, Running Man. This is definitely another one of those movies. Let's see. That one will definitely have to. That's going to be in the list. We're going to watch these on Discord. Then okay, here's the other one I was talking about. The one that I was old enough for was Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. That was the one I remember. The advertising campaign for this movie was off the wall. With the music, and then the movies, and then the saying it was an event. It was a large life event. That's what it's all missing. You know, with YouTube and all the social media, what I'm saying, again, it's all this shit is mad cool. You could just access it, but it's missing that larger than life feel. The feel of like it's an event. Wu Tang have released some stuff, and on YouTube it's just all of it. You know what I'm saying? Rancid, another band that just released some stuff a little while ago. Or I don't know if they necessarily released something new, but I know a bunch of this stuff showed up on my feed. The whole album just released. Poof. I didn't download them, but you listened to it. But there was no lead up to it. Because I'm subscribed to these guys, so, what I'm saying? There was no media campaign leading up to the album. It was just the dump. And Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome was definitely, it brings back a lot of memories. All right, so the next one on the list was 1984. Now that one is the exact imprint of society right now. That is the exact imprint of society, right? It's crazy because, like I mentioned in the past one, you can just imprint the ideas that are in this movie into sort of like the social fabric or social ideas of now, and it's a fit. And as society sort of, I guess the best way to say it, sort of degrades or regress. Is that even a word? you know, this is basically the manual of how it's going to actually regress. Because one of the things that's so prevalent right now is the changing of language. And one of the things one of the themes that they always sort of said, just sort of paraphrasing it, I'm saying, You change language, you change thought. You know, one comedian that was he's no longer with us. He's one of those ghosts that I sort of still listen to. It was hmm, trying to put it the best way, but either way, when you change how you present an idea, or the thought behind that changes. So one of the things that George Carlin is the comedian I'm talking about. He talked about he talked about just that premise in itself. So you've gone from like the word shell shock, which puts an immediate impact. When you heard that somebody's been shell shocked at war, you understand that even though they may have not got hit by the bombs that they dropped themselves, or that dropped around them, the impact of what could happen to them and the impact of what happened to the people around them it still sits with them. But then when you change that from shell shock to PTSD, it puts a more clinical feel behind it, but it doesn't put that feeling, it doesn't the oomph to it. You know what I'm saying? There's no you don't feel like you need to immediately address that within that person, as opposed to you say, damn, that person went over to war and they came back shell shocked. And that was one of the words that the George Carlin, and I distinctly remember, because from shell shock to PTSD, I mean you still understand that there's some serious implications behind the term PTSD, but it just lessens the impact of the word from shell shock to PTSD. So then you go back to 1984. One of the main themes in that movie was, the main guy in the movie. He worked for the Ministry of, I think it was the Ministry of Truth. And what would happen is every day he's getting these words, new word of the day, changing, or the change of this word, and so each day he's getting sent down to him that this word is being changed. So it's like the word truth now is going to be changed to whatever, and then he would send that communication out to everybody else. And it was a shrewd mental trick, because like I said, if you go from the word shell shock, then you use the word PTSD. Now you're not. It still doesn't feel like you're putting the urgency on it. So that's what I'm saying. That's a sort of a shrewd mental trick. Another one too. Another sort of central theme about the movie is war, right? But not so much war itself, the actual happening of war. It was the idea of war. So, one of the things that the main guy in the movie would talk about is there's this war going on in Eurasia. He had no way to know for sure that was happening, and he had no way of sure of the actual logistics of it. But what he did know is what he was told every day, and that society was basically run based off of that. The world is always in some kind of conflict. Our country's always, there's always some enemy, being one of the prescribed enemies, main enemies. Is like we're the final boss. You know, Society is basically run and built off of off of that opposition to these enemies. And based off of that, I mean, create whole industry. I mean, you just look at how, with the whole idea of terrorism, they were able to create different agencies. They were creating different, people, create whole, like, channels and things based off of this stuff, and create whole careers off of even just talking about it. So this whole conflict between us and them, it's society's galvanized behind that, and then based off of that, we build industry, we run society. It's also sort of a social engineering type of a deal, because now society moves based off of the fact that you could be bombed at any moment now. So it's definitely sort of shrewd mental tricks. That's another movie, and I do have that one. That one I have actually on like a file, so that can go both messed up movies and dystopic movies. So that's going to be the first list. So we'll work our way through this list. Let me go ahead and save it. Okay. Okay, so the first set of movies: Blade Runner, Road Warrior, They Live, Escape from New York, RoboCop, Running Man, Mad Max Beyond the Thunderdome, and 1984. So these are going to be the movies that we're going to watch first. And that's our first list. Okay. So basically Sunday, on my birthday, I'm going to go ahead and play these and shit. And why do I feel like I say a sentence, pause, say a sentence, pause? Look at them fucking doing it. It's like I'm having scattered thoughts. Yeah, because the movies behind that too, give me some interesting ones. Cyborg, Escape 2000, Kinzaza. Fuck is that? Ooh, Max Headroom. Headroom. Yeah, this list got some other shit that I haven't heard of before. Let's have Brave New World. That's one that we could definitely discuss at a later point. I think one we're gonna use is like Fahrenheit 457, I believe. We'll definitely get to that one. So yeah, each week we're gonna do. One day we'll do the funny reaction. The other day we'll talk over more movies, the dystopic movies, and then the weed song list is gonna be another day. All right, sounds pretty good. All right, got it. Anyway, day is long, sun is hot. Might as well smoke if you got some pot.
all know how to people who are no use in this world, who are more troubled in their work. Just put him there and say, sir or madam, now will you be kind enough to justify me? You can't justify me. If you're not pulling your weight, no. If you're not producing as much as you consume, of that reward, then surely we cannot use it to dig all the